everyone. In this video, we will demonstrate how to deploy JasperReports Server on Azure Kubernetes service. Our agenda is deploying JasperReports Server on AKS cluster with two different routing options, using Nginx as ingress controller and using application gateway. To achieve this deployment, we require two images, Jasper Server Web Application and Jasper Server Buildomatic. For more information on creating these images, please refer to our video on creating Docker images for JasperReports Server, where we explain each step in detail. Let's see the deployment using Nginx as ingress controller in the demo. In this JS-Docker repository, navigate to Jaspersoft containers. Here, under KTS JRS, you can find the README here. It contains all the steps for the deployment. As I mentioned earlier, we need two Docker images for this deployment. One is Jasper Server Web App and Jasper Server Buildomatic. For more information, please refer the video Creating Docker Images for JasperReports Server. Also, please make sure that before creating the images, update DB host value present in default master properties file. Let's see. Here, under Jaspersoft containers, Docker, JRS, resources, default properties, default master.properties. Here, I have updated the DB host value with the repository host name. In my case, I am deploying PostgreSQL charts in JRS namespace. So, I am using repository PostgreSQL.jrs. If you are deploying in default namespace, then you can mention here as default in place of JRS. I have already created the images. So, let's see. These are the images that I have created for this deployment. Once the images are created, we need to push them into the ACR, Azure Container Registry. For this, we need to log into Azure portal. Here in Azure portal, go to Container Registries. Here, click on Create. Select the subscription and resource group if you have any existing resource group, or else click on Create New and provide the resource group name. Here, provide the registry name and select the location. Then click on Next Networking. Leave everything as default. Next, Review plus Create. Here, check all the details and click on Create. Here you can see container registry has been created. Now we need to connect to this registry and then push the images into the ACR. Run this command to connect to the ACR. Here you can see the login has been succeeded. Now we need to tag and push the images. Now I'm tagging web image. The image is tagged. Now we need to push the image into the repository. Run this command to push the web image into the repository. Here you can see Jasper Server Web App has been pushed into the repository. Now let's tag Jasper Server Buildomatic image. Image has been tagged. Let's push it into the repository. Both the images has been pushed into the repository. Let's check in ACR. Here you can see both the images, Web App and Buildomatic. In this scenario, we are deploying JRS on AKS using Nginx as ingress controller. Let's create AKS cluster. In Azure portal, go to Kubernetes service, click on create, select Kubernetes cluster, select your subscription here and select your existing resource group. If you don't have any existing resource group, you can click on create and create new resource group. In cluster details, select cluster configuration. Here I'm selecting dev or test environment for this deployment. Here provide cluster name. And select region. Then click on next. I'm leaving node pool configuration as default. Go to next. Check this set authorized IP range to allow public access to your cluster. I'm providing here my public IP so that I can access this cluster through this IP. And I'm leaving network configuration as Azure CNI. Go to next. Right now I'm not integrating Azure Container Registry. So click on next. Leave everything as default. Go to next. Review plus create. Check your cluster configuration and then click on create. Here you can see the cluster has been created. Now to connect to this cluster, click on connect and copy this command and run it on git bash to connect to the cluster. Now I am running this command here. In this scenario, we are using Nginx as ingress controller instead of HA proxy, as we are facing issue with HA proxy as ingress controller. For this, we need to update chart.aml file. Let's add the dependencies in chart.aml file. You can find the chart.aml file under Jaspersoft containers, K8s, JRS, Helm, chart.aml. Here I have added Nginx dependencies in chart.aml file. Now we need to update values.aml file with the updated image name and tag name, and also we need to add the required annotations for Nginx. You can find the values.aml file under Jaspersoft containers, K8s, JRS, Helm, and then values.aml file. Here I have updated JRS web application image name and tag. And also we need to update the image name and tag name for Buildomatic. Here I updated image name and tag name for Buildomatic as well. This is the Nginx ingress controller configuration. And also this is the ingress configuration for Jasper Server web app. Here update ingress class name as Nginx and save the updated values.aml file. Now we have updated the image name and tag name in values.aml file. The next step is we need to add the obtained license file in license folder, which is under this path. I have already placed my license file under license folder. Let's see. Here under Jaspersoft containers, K8s, JARS, Helm, go to secrets and then license. Here you can see the license file. Now the next step is we need to generate key store and place it under the key store path. Please go through the key store generation guide for detailed steps. And also make sure to change the file permissions to 644. I have already placed my keys under key store folder. Let's check. Here under JRS Helm Secrets History. Here you can see the keys which I have placed now. And I also changed the permissions to 644. As I mentioned earlier, I'm deploying my application in JRS namespace. So I'm creating the namespace. JRS namespace has been created. Now we need to connect AKS with ACR. So we need to create secret and configure it. Before that, we need to change the context from default to the namespace JRS. I'm running this command to set the context to JRS. Now I'm running this command to create and configure the secret. Here, Docker server value, username and password, you will be getting it from ACR. Let's see. Here, in container registry, under access keys, you can find the login server details, username and password. Secret has been created. Let's check. Here you can see the secret which we have created now. Now, the next step is we need to add dependency chart repositories. Here, we are using Nginx as ingress controller instead of HA proxy. So, we need to skip HA proxy chart repository. Instead of this, we need to add Nginx chart repository. Now, I'm adding Nginx chart repository. While adding these dependencies, make sure you are under this path Jaspersoft containers KTS. Now the next step is we need to update Helm dependencies. Copy this command. Here you can see dependencies got updated. After that, we need to install Postgres repository. Copy this command. I'm running this command to install Postgres. Here you can see Postgres has been installed. Now let's check the pod status. Here you can see Postgres pod is up and running. Now we can install JRS by running this command. Now I'm running this command. As you can see here, JRS got deployed successfully. Let's check the pod status by running this command kubectl get all -n JRS. Here you can see all the pods are up and running. Now we can access JRS application by using this external IP. Now I'm trying to access JRS application using this URL. Here we can see the login page. Let's log into the application. Now we are able to log into the application. Let's check the version here. Here you can see JRS version is 9.0.0. This is how we deploy JasperReports Server on AKS using Nginx as ingress controller. Now, the next scenario is deploying JasperReports Server on AKS using Application Gateway. For this, now we need to enable Application Gateway in our AKS cluster. Now, we need to enable Application Gateway in our AKS cluster. So, under networking, go to virtual network integration. Here click on Manage, select Ingress Controller, then click on Save. Here you can see Application Gateway has been enabled. Now creating images, pushing them into ACR, placing license file in license folder, keystore generation, everything is same as discussed earlier. Now we are using Application Gateway as ingress controller. We need to update our values.aml file. Let's see. In values.aml file, updating image name and tag name is same as earlier. Same for Buildomatic as well. Updated the image name and tag name. Here in Kubernetes ingress, set service type as node port. And also here we are using Application Gateway as ingress controller. Comment out these two annotations. And also add ingress class name as Azure Application Gateway. In chart.ml file, comment out HA proxy dependency. After updating chart.ml file and values.ml file, go to this Jaspersoft containers KTS path and add dependency chart repositories. Here we are using Application Gateway as ingress controller. So skip HA proxy chart repository. Now I am under Jaspersoft containers KTS path. I am adding these repositories now. The next step is updating Helm dependencies. Copy this command. Here you can see dependencies got updated. Now install Postgres using this command. As you can see here, Postgres has been installed. Let's check the pod status. Here you can see Postgres pod is up and running. Now run this command to install JRS. Here you can see JRS got deployed successfully. Now let's check the pod status. Here you can see all the pods are up and running. Now you can get the ingress by running this command. Here you can see JRS Jasper Server -pro is the ingress name and the class is Azure Application Gateway. You can access the application using this IP. Here we can see the login page of Jaspersoft application. Let's log in. Now I am able to log into the application. Let's check the version. Here you can see the JRS version is 9.0.0. This is how we deploy JasperReports Server on AKS cluster. Thank you.